Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Spotswood Borough Council for March 2nd, 2015. The notice requirements provided in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of meeting was properly given in the new schedule of meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on January 1st, 2015. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Can you all please rise for a salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence? During the moment of silence, I ask that you please keep in your thoughts and prayers the DiStefano family, Pat, who lost her mom, and the Genovese family, police officer who lost his father.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Councilman Stolen?
Here.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Here.
Councilman Seeley?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Council President Lasacco?
Here.
Mayor Policino?
Again, Mayor Policino is ill for this evening.
Okay, we don't have any minutes for this meeting. Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda, resolutions 2015-48 through 2015-50.
I propose a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda, 2015-48 through 2015-50.
Second. 51.
51.
No, 50. He's got to pull 51. Oh, sorry. You were right. 48 to 50.
No, I said 51.
Okay, 50. Sorry. We're going to do 51 separate because Ed's got to abstain.
Want me to read that whole thing?
I think you actually did say 50.
I said, I'm sorry, 2015-51. That's the last one.
Yeah, no. We're going to take, I'll make the motion to accept 2015-48 through 2015-50 because we're going to do 51 separate because Ed has to abstain from that.
Okay.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Council President Lasacco?
Yes. And I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2015-51.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Abstain.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Council President Lasacco?
Yes.
Would you mention that that was the bill list and that what we pulled off and voted
Oh,
on?
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there was the resolution 2015-51, which is pulled off the consent agenda and voted on separately, was the bill list. And I make a motion to move the application. We have Carter W. Mead, who I gladly make a motion to appoint as a full member of the fire department and welcome.
Second.
Councilman Stolen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Gladly. Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Lasacco? Council
Yes.
President Lasacco?
Yes.
Can I just make a comment on that application? This is the third generation of the Meade family that have devoted themselves to firefighting in town. And I want to give kudos to that family and the tradition that they have of volunteering for town and particularly in that dangerous position. So, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Stolen, anything?
No, I just echo what Marge said. Kevin and Terry Mead can be very proud. They have some wonderful, wonderful kids, and very impressive, and happy to have them on board. Otherwise, I'm fine, thanks.
I just want to say this, prayers from Spotswood are very powerful. My sister is doing beautifully, wonderfully. She's now home. We didn't think she would be coming home, but she's home. She's doing well. She is it's just been a real miracle. So you guys, you you had a moment of silence and prayers for my sister, and I have no doubt that God listened, and she is doing much better, and thank you for that. The Spotswood Education Casino Night Foundation, Casino Night is next Saturday. If you want tickets, just come up and see me after the meeting. I'd be happy to sell you all the tickets you want. And I want to point out that we are honoring our own Donna Falconberry, which I know she doesn't want to hear in public, but we're honoring her at this casino night, as she well deserves for her volunteer work over the years for town. And we'll be presenting an award to her that night. And there is someone who's turning 100 years old in town, and it's not me. It is a lady, let's see, let me get the letter from Janine. Olivia Fantelli. We're having a birthday party for her at the Spotswood Senior Center. I'm sure Donna knows her.
We celebrated her 95th.
Okay, so now, God willing and God bless, she's making 100. Which is to be celebrated at all costs, right? Thursday, March 12th at 12:15, we're going to work on a proclamation for her, and we're going to celebrate her birthday that day. So if you're interested in helping us celebrate Olivia's birthday, come down to the Senior Center at 12:15 on Thursday, March 12th. And thank you to Frank. I actually met with him yesterday. I got home Friday afternoon from vacation, and he met with me for a couple hours about the budget, reviewed all that with me, and I felt very up to speed from him. So thank you, Frank, for filling me in on such short notice.
No problem.
And that's it.
Great. Councilman Seeley.
No, I'm good.
Councilman Ritchie.
Good.
Excellent. Was brought to our attention by a concerned resident that there was what appeared to be a fraudulent or misleading postcard delivered to residents of the borough that appeared to be very similar to our water bills or postcards. I asked that the borough administration post it on the website to warn our residents, and that was taken care of immediately. So notice went out to all the residents, and I thank you for doing that. We also discussed the Transportation Committee appointing someone, and Councilman Seeley would like to do that.
Oh, excellent.
So I'd like to appoint him to do that. Was there any news on the, it's probably, perhaps from our discussion, maybe it's too early to discuss the TD Bank fees, or?
Actually, Joe and I met with a representative, bless you, from TD this morning, and we've resolved that issue. They've upgraded our account so that we will not see any of those service fees any longer.
Great. I knew you were going to have I knew it was discussed. I had it in my notes, and I knew you told me there was a meeting today, so I figured I'd
Yes.
follow up.
We'll get interest too.
Yes.
And you get interest, too.
It's funny, they have these accounts, and all you have to do is ask, and all of a sudden, you never knew about it.
If you don't ask, yeah.
And they're going to go back with interest.
Are they going to
Yeah.
return any of the fees that they had been charging, or is it just going to start fresh from now?
The interest, they're actually going to go backwards on.
Fees start now, but interest are going to go back 2 years, and whatever we were entitled to, they're going to reimburse us now. So,
What's the interest rate?
0.10, it's very small. But we were entitled to interest for the last 2 years that we didn't receive, so
Okay.
at least we're going to get a retro back.
Also, we discussed the salting of the streets and the fact that there was an edict from the mayor's office to salt every street. And we expressed a concern that we wanted to leave that up to a decision of the DPW. Was there any change in that, or?
It is absolutely at the DPW director's discretion. I have not had an opportunity to discuss it further with the mayor.
Okay.
They came around this morning on Willard Clark.
Yes.
Okay. And the other stuff, and the one last thing is the Snow Hill and Adirondack, the shrubs that someone had expressed concern. It's going to be more of an issue in the spring, but again,
Yeah,
I know
it
we
is
have a lot of other priorities going on with the weather,
Yep.
but was,
I actually drove it myself, and there is
Yeah,
a
there-
site problem right there. I did report it to traffic safety, and they are reaching out to the homeowner.
excellent. That's great. That's all I have. Dawn?
Okay, you all have a copy of my administrator's report. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me. I just want to highlight a couple of items. At our last meeting, we had a brief discussion about going green for our DPW spring and fall flyers. Mr. Stolen, Councilman Stolen had asked about the cost. It's approximately $1,500 a year. That's for paper and postage. The Board of Education donates their services to print and typeset it up. So based on that, would you like to look at going green or continue to mail it out?
Well, I was the one that raised it, but I mean, at this point, I can't see spending that type of money. It is nice to have some type of communication that can be mailed. I know the other towns do it with their tax bills or their water bills. I understand now our water bills and tax bills are going to be folded and processed, so we couldn't really include them in an envelope.
Correct.
But at this point, I would say we just have to post things on the internet to fill people in and just keep driving that point that they've got to check our website for news.
Okay.
Is this 1,500 per mail? You said you do it twice a year, once in the spring.
I think that's a total.
That's a total.
That's the total?
Yep,
So if you only did one mailing, it would be half that cost?
correct.
But a mailing also takes, as you said, time to stuff envelopes.
Can we do an annual mailing?
They're actually folded in half, and a little tab is sealed. They're not
The new
stuffed in
ones.
envelopes.
The new ones, right?
No, they can do that with the old ones.
Yeah,
Are we talking about the flyers or the tax and water bills?
We were mixed between the two.
I was talking about the flyers.
Right.
The flyers are actually folded in half
Right.
and sealed with a little sticker. They're not stuffed in envelopes.
Yeah, I would like to continue with the mailings, especially for my seniors. But maybe reduce it to once a year?
It would be difficult because a lot of the information that we need to put out in the fall isn't available in the spring and vice versa. It's really depends on the season.
You mean the leave?
Right.
bagging.
Leaves have a lot to do with it, and the bags, yes.
But just so you know, because you weren't here, that was brought up specifically in one of the resolutions that the, Dawn, the business administrator, came up with, is that there could be a hard copy produced, and instead of mailed, it would be delivered to Crescent Park, to the senior center, so it would reach them in a...
Clearwater,
Clearwater. So it would
At
reach
the-
them in a
at
print
the
form,
tax
just not,
window. you
right.
have some-
Oh, absolutely. At the
but
tax
just not
window.
through postal.
Most of the seniors like to come and pay their taxes, and that would be right at the tax window.
Being that Marge wasn't here last meeting, we can certainly wait another 2 weeks. It's,
And that's good. That's a
Okay.
reasonable
That way you
accommodation.
can
Give
think
time to
about it.
digest it, maybe speak to the seniors as well. It is definitely a concern. And the reason this also got brought up, just by way of a little bit of background, is the county is doing away with it. They're no longer sending. So any county information is all electronic. It's up to you to seek out, so.
Okay.
But that was everybody's concern, so, and you are the liaison, so that's
Yeah,
fair.
let me touch base.
okay, sounds good. Also, I met with Director Jen Ryan of EMS and Rich Desmond and Jesse Rivera from the Salvation Army last week to discuss some space issues at EMS. For those of you that don't know, the Salvation Army is housed at our temporary EMS facility in the warehouse. They serve the county, and they also serve outside of the county. They respond to any fires, any needs of the community. They're more than welcome to come in here and give a presentation to council on all the services they provide, if you so desire.
Well, my concern was that we couldn't plug in a lot of our equipment to get charged and that kind of thing because of the space issues down there. And it's a temporary warehouse space. And there's so many towns around here that have big EMS facilities. And the county certainly has a nice one down in Monroe that, they have storage down there by their long-term care facility. I don't understand why we're in something that is small to begin with, a warehouse that has got to be reconfigured for our equipment, but to invite them in when we are limited with our space, and it is a temporary thing, it's not going to be there for a long time. I don't understand.
They were granted permission about 1.5 years ago, so they've been there for about 1.5 years. I did meet with them last week, as I said, and we've resolved all the space issues. All vehicles are now plugged in. It seems as though everything's been resolved.
Yeah, the thing is, though, the employees still must continually, manually open and close that door. That's a huge door. Every time they take a rig out, they have to make their way to the front, open it up, then they have to get out, the ambulance gets out, and then they have to manually pull it back down. It's just not,
Right.
it's just not conducive to having another community partner in there in this kind of condition, you know? So, I will talk to Jen. I didn't have a chance yet to touch base with her. The mayor did tell me that you had the meeting and that things were resolved. But I would just give notice to the Salvation Army, no matter what, this is a temporary space.
Oh,
And
they're well
that they
aware.
should start looking elsewhere for their vehicles, and then they have to be held to limit some of the vehicles that they put in there, and the storage of the food and all that stuff. That that I think was not detailed in that letter of agreement with the Salvation Army. There's an extra vehicle there inside and an extra vehicle and something else outside on the driveway. So they need to be held to a limited space. And I'm glad that you had the meeting and followed through with that.
Yes.
And I'll follow up with Jen to see if it's acceptable.
Okay, sounds good. The other item I wanted to mention is Planning Board is canceled for tomorrow. The next meeting is March 17th. And my other item on my list is already resolved because Councilman Seeley volunteered for Transportation Advisory. Last but not least, I know we've echoed it every single meeting. Our DPW does a fabulous job cleaning the roads, and there's been a lot to do in town lately. Mother Nature has not been kind to us. On top of that, they're handling all the water main breaks. I just want to bring it up again because we do have a member of our DPW staff in the audience, and I just want to thank him and thank all the other DPW employees for their hard work.
We do too.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. And for all the ones, there was one that was handled outside, and that was only because they were already out on one.
Right, there were
Otherwise-
two at the same time.
But, and everybody should know that because they're rolling up their sleeves and doing that, it's saving on average $10,000 per break by doing it in-house. I mean, it's just a lot of money with the number of breaks we've had, so kudos. I'll entertain a motion.
I did have a question
Sure.
about the brakes. I had sent you an email to ask Bruce about whether it's the condition of the pipes. Do we need to rehab that area down here? There seemed to be a large number of brakes.
That problem is everywhere. And even if you had ductile iron pipes, there would be less of them. But the freeze and the thaw and the temperature differences we're having, I'm not sure there's any town that isn't dealing with it to some degree.
Right. So there's not concentrated in one spot. Like I thought this Summerhill Road area, there was a couple.
Well, keep in mind the heavier traffic when you get this frost that runs deep and the pipes are dealing with it and the impact loads are just not cushioned. It's just weather related.
Okay.
Well, it seems like it's every 10 feet from the tracks to Main Street.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
obviously that
Yeah.
pipe gets a lot of traffic there. I think there's a concrete slab underneath which should distribute the load a bit, but the pipes are old. There's no question that there's something that needs to be done, but it's not the primary cause of what's going on.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Entertain a motion to open to the public?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. There's an open public portion, which means we can speak about anything we like.
Hey, guys, I'm back. Jim Sharon, 45 Pine Street, Spotswood, New Jersey. Salvation Army, who approved it?
Nick,
Mayor.
Without the approval of the council?
I saw the letter.
Yeah, we didn't get
I
anything.
wasn't liaison at that point, Jim.
I'm not looking to point the finger at you or anybody, but I'm saying...
I
is it-
was, and I didn't know about it.
And again, it's our, and while we're on the first aid building, where are we at with the first aid building? I heard we're going to do a liaison, and so the Schweitzers, we still have not got a response from Schweitzers. And how
From
long?
past history, everything we do with Schweitzers takes forever. And
Listen-
We've been waiting long enough.
I sat here this time last year. I brought up at that meeting, because you were putting money into, going to do some money to look at that piece of property. I also brought up, Ed Seeley and I, when I was on council, also tried to work with the people at Schweitzer's because the plant manager said he was going to give us property to build ball fields. And Barry, myself, Ed, Barry Zagnit, because I'm on tape, worked our buns off trying to make that happen, and never did. Now you guys go out, spend hard-earned money to do site surveys when you never own the property. It's not fiscally responsible, and I'm still aggravated about that you as a council made that decision, and now I'm looking at the first aid building that we're sitting on that money, and I know we got approval for some rent up until a certain period.
Yes, we did.
When is that rent paid up to? I'm sorry, I should ask you.
That's granted.
We're getting reimbursed from May 2013, which is when we started paying rent, going forward.
So, and it's not going to be a cost to the town at all? It's not going to go against our FEMA money for rebuild?
It goes against the bond ordinance that was done in 2012 for the building, and Hurricane Irene is a 75% storm, so we would get 75% back.
Okay. That building, and I know you guys are doing behind the scenes, looking at the profitability of your first aid squad. You should be. I would say to you, as you look at your fire department, look at your first aid. It's a service. Even if you go outside, it's not going to be as good as what you guys are providing Spotswood in-house. That cost, though I don't want to pay any more taxes, I'll be the first one to tell you that. That cost, if you did the transports and did what you had to do to make that closer to being cost prudent, it's going to cost you money no matter what. But you really got to look at that. And if you're going to go out, I'm telling you, go out to bid. It's important that you go out to bid and not look at just one or two entities.
I agree.
Go out and bid and make sure that you're going to get the best for this town. And my next question, back to that Salvation Army. Are they paying us anything for that?
No.
And I understand we want to be, they were good to us during the storm, and they helped, but they're good to every town. It's showtime. Spotswood's a small town. We can't afford that in that building. Listen, I was in that building. Marge, I honor that you're fighting the good fight, because that should have never happened without your approval. The mayor does have, the right to make decisions, but not when it comes to hurting our operation. Now, budget for snow. How are we looking?
Actually, we discussed this last time. We're actually operating off of 2011s right now.
Now, okay, and so that answer. Any questions at all? Any answers? Can we ask any questions on the budget? Don't look at me like that.
You can.
There's a public hearing for it on
There's a
employees.
more specific one on the.
I'm looking at a couple of numbers, and I don't want to get in deep because I have a lot of questions. But one of the questions I have is on the fire department. We talked about the fire department, and we said that we didn't want them to canvass in Spotswood. Have we in the budget, and I saw that there is some extra money in the budget for that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I also noticed it's a lot more money in that line. Is there something else I don't see in that line?
Yeah, I mean, I'll comment on that because it was brought up at our budget workshop. The two line items that were increased, one was for that, and the other one, the mayor reported on that there was money allocated in the budget to purchase 12 hotel rooms down in Maryland in October. There's for the fallen firefighter, Joe Bove,
He's going to be honored nationally.
and they're going to honor him on
I
a
love
wall.
Joe Bove. All right, so 12 hotel rooms.
Yes, sir.
Who goes?
We asked that question. Councilman Seeley asked that question.
Because I have to tell you something, and with all due respect, and no one knows how much I love the fire department.
Yep,
I want to go,
sure.
okay? Because I love Joe Bove and his whole family, so I do think, but how do you come up with 12 rooms?
We were concerned about that, and what the mayor,
And
jump in if I'm not being accurate, he said that they were polling all the firefighters and they were going to make a determination, essentially, who gets them. We didn't get a concrete answer.
it just puts you in an awkward position. You're buying 12 rooms. I would have rather you said, here's how much money.
Can I get into this?
Jump right in.
Stop me if I'm wrong. Barry's with the fire department, he's the
I know
president.
Barry. You were there a couple years, right? Okay, yeah.
Case in point is, it's still being ironed out for the rooms. The 12 rooms, my concern was who was going as well as yours. Who is going? Who gets the pick of the rooms? They've decided to pick amongst themselves because I believe it's a sign-up thing, right? If I correctly have to
So
sign
it's only
up.
going to be active firemen?
That would, no. No, it's not going to be just active firemen. You know what?
The fire department side.
So, and I guess that's where I'm going here.
They asked if I would like a room as liaison, and I said no.
They asked
Because
if,
I'm going down for the day and coming back. I just, there's just too much on a tax dollar to begin with.
And listen, I love Joe Bove. I think it's a
Me
nice
as
thing.
well.
I just have I just heard 12 rooms. I'm going, who goes? How do you do that?
First question I asked, and they assured me that it would be done diplomatically to the officers. I believe they're color guard. You have a color guard going as well. It's a 3-day ceremony, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday events.
Right, and Sunday is the day I'm going for the actual dedication. But they're going to get back to me with the list. They haven't yet.
So there's money in there in the budget for that.
yes, sir.
So, and I have questions on that, and I'll bring it up in budget time. It just doesn't make sense to me that we would do that. I may have another question. I'll give somebody because I have my notes, but
Okay.
I'll be back.
Oh, you'll yield.
Hello, all.
Good evening.
Hi.
Barry Engstrom, President, Sponsored Enterprise Hook and Ladder. Just in regards to what Jimmy's talking about and asking about, I've talked to the mayor a great deal over the weekend, and he advised me the numbers I'm hearing from him are $3,100. That's the numbers, and he's trying to get the best amount of rooms, as many rooms as he can get, based upon that price. So that's the number he's working at, is $3,100. He figures 12 rooms, but if he can get a better deal from Marriott or Hilton, whichever he's dealing with,
Good.
then he'll maybe be able to get 15 rooms. So that's basically the number he's been telling me is $3,100.
That's what's budgeted, correct?
Yes.
I was going to look it up. I saw you
Yes.
looking. And I recall that.
It's not the amount of rooms, it's however many rooms he
I
can
got you.
get. And I told him, I said, if he can temporarily book 20 rooms right now, and then we could just, beginning of September, he's advised me that if we only need 14, we can cancel the other ones with no cost. So he's trying to get the best he can for the buck, for $3,100. And as far as many members right now, at last count on Sunday, we had 14 members signed up. And of course, a lot of that is couples, husband and wife team, whether it be auxiliary or firefighter and his wife. And there are probably 5 or 6 rooms that would be required for singles. We get two king-size beds, queen-size beds, whatever. A lot of rooms Nick's looking at are suites. So they'll have 2 queen-size beds, 2 king-size beds, whatever the case may be.
So then 2 singles could go in there, right?
Absolutely,
And share a room.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's going to be thought of, but right now it's still in the preliminary stages, since he just started looking for rooms, because I advised him that we're about 22 miles out of Emmitsburg right now because everything else is booking up.
And that's in
So,
Maryland.
That's in Maryland, yeah.
Well, look at the chains and see if anybody's got any of those frequent flyer hotel, I know I belong to Marriott and, Hyatt and, those rewards chains. Maybe somebody
Well,
can work a deal.
I think with probably the traveling he's been doing for his medical
That's true.
expenses and stuff like that, evidently, last I heard from him, I think it was the Hilton or one of the upper-end Marriotts,
Good.
they offered it at $199 a night, and he's got them down to $109 a night.
Yep.
So he's definitely looking to cut costs as much as he can, but get the best
And that's terrific.
best bang
That's
for the
almost
buck. So,
20-something.
but again, that's the number I had heard from him was $3,100. It's not based upon how many rooms yet, it's the total amount of money. So, Okay?
Thank you,
Thank
doesn't
you.
help.
And Barry makes a good point. It's a budget item of money. The number of rooms was just used to help set the dollar figure, but it's a dollar figure that's in the budget.
So you guys are just giving money?
Correct.
We have a budget for the,
You're not booking the room?
no.
No.
Then, okay, I have no problem. I do have the...
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry Dunn, 58 Elkworth Avenue. I don't understand this for what I saw, so maybe you guys can explain it to me. Last Saturday, when we had that bad snow, the snowplow came down to my street about 20 feet, left some salt, turned around, and disappeared. Yesterday, he came down, sparingly, I guess, put the salt down, and the truck didn't have a plow on it. Now, why would a truck come out, put salt down sparingly, but not have a plow on it? And why would that guy on Saturday come down maybe 20 feet and then turn around and leave the block?
Well, I will tell you that I have no idea.
Well, that's
Not my area of expertise.
That is when we salt intersections, and we don't salt the whole street.
Correct.
We salt coming up to a stop sign and where you will need traction. Normally, you don't need it on the rest of the street.
Okay, all right, I
So
take
that's
that.
probably why you did the 20-foot, because that's what they do on the streets. They go 20 feet before an intersection, they salt.
Yeah, but that contradicts what you say. You say every street is going
Well,
to be
this
done.
was
That's not
since
what
our
was-
last meeting.
Yeah, and that's not actually what we said. The mayor said he was going to salt every street, or direct.
Yeah, but it was said at the last meeting
I
that it was
understand
going to
that.
be done. And then this guy comes 20 feet and
He
disappears.
plowed, Terry, or he just
No.
laid salt down?
He put just salt down like 20 feet. He didn't even come to the first driveway on the block.
Councilman Seeley is going to weigh in on this.
I'm sure I'll be corrected in the back row if I'm wrong, but I believe the reason they didn't have a plow on it was because the snowfall was so light, they were using the salt to dissipate what surface they could.
What, yesterday?
Yeah, the snow wasn't very deep yesterday. They didn't plow my streets at all, and they just put salt down, that's all, at the intersections.
Mine too,
Yeah, but then
it's
you
all
said
gone.
today that they came around.
with salt
Today.
again.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did you get priority?
No. Are
Oh,
you
God, no. God, no, don't even start that.
We absolutely don't. And again, I give kudos. I'm sorry to hear that you had the bad experience, but I'm very honored to hear that unfortunately, or fortunately, you're the only one. Because I haven't heard any complaints, and I typically get a lot of
I'm
the
only out
complaints.
there now because I have a little Maltese dog that's white,
Okay.
and the snow is higher than him, so I have to be out there when I let him out now. Other than that, I'm not out there for anything.
But you're not putting the snow in the street, right? Can't do that, remember?
No. In fact, I hired 2 guys today to come and put the snow back on the property more, because we can't get in our driveway
Yep.
the way it's plowed. So, all right.
Mr. Sherman.
Number one, I hear what you said, and I honor what you guys did, because my roads after the sun today shouldn't have been plowed because it was clear. So you saved me some money. I appreciate it. I want to go back to the water situation. That was my other question. I noticed Monroe bought the water rights at Schweitzer's, and I was under the impression it was a little bit over $1 million. I read it in an article from Monroe, and I didn't hear that we were in any negotiations on that. And, you know, we were very big on getting into staying in the water business. And this could have been the perfect avenue for us to just pump and not ever need East Brunswick again. And I got Ed's attention. But that was nice to see your head pop up, Ed. But my question is, and Bruce, you gave me a couple, and we had to stop because the meeting started, but why didn't we push for that? Why weren't we in it? Because I heard we were the first ones contacted on that. Why didn't we get into that and push for us to have those water rights? Because it could have gave us a big future.
Councilman Seeley was heavily involved in that.
Heavy?
Heavy, like heavy, like I am.
Okay.
The first thing is, and correct me if I'm mistaken at any
I thought you
time.
were big on this. Now, come on, don't be going questioning. Come on, answer the question.
The question is, they wanted us to purchase all of the water rights, not some, because we had approached them about purchasing some because all we couldn't use. Number one, we just didn't have the revenue because I believe it was a lot higher than $1 million.
I remember 5 to 6.
Right.
5 to 6.
No, that's not what I read.
Well,
Okay,
well,
so-
number two, the water also had radionuclides, which require a different filtration process that we only have in one plant. Right? Main Street, I believe, yes.
And you can no longer have a plant
Right.
like that. We couldn't build one as reasonable as that. Now you have to build a much more expensive plant to handle radionucleates.
Much more
Oh,
technical.
so Monroe has that?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's,
And there's a bonding issue where you had to have, you couldn't get the bond unless you proved you needed the funds, but you couldn't bid on the rights unless you had the bond in your pocket. So it was like we would have had the bond for the full amount of what we might get, and then we might not win the award of what they wanted. So there was a catch-22 on the
Is
bond
there any
issue.
way we can go to Monroe and buy some of their rights, now that they have them all?
We should be able to, if they're interested, but I think they need everything they've got with the construction they've got going down there.
Well, it'd be something, that would be a good avenue to check. My problem is we have to start pumping when we get to the aquafilters, and we're allowed, I forget exactly because I'm an old man, how many we're allowed to pump, Bruce, but I know almost every year we're restricted on hot summers, that we can't pump anymore. And then we're more relying on East Brunswick for their water. And I just think if that was a way that we can maybe do it, then it's nice to stay in the water business.
We really wanted to.
We definitely wanted to.
We explored every chance to try to do it.
All right, and my last question, first aid building, I stopped in the middle of that. Where are we building? What are we doing?
That's
And
what
when do we lose that FEMA money? When is that in jeopardy?
The FEMA extension right now is until August 31st, 2015. At that point, we would have to file for an extension.
Which means we could get shut down.
It's unlikely, but we would have to prove why the long delay.
And and I'm not blaming, please, I'm not blaming anybody, and I honor everything you did, but I'm saying, Kurt, I heard what you said today, hey, let's go, but with all due
By the
respect,
end of the
Mr.
week.
President, this is, we gotta, and
By the end of the week, I'll have a meeting date.
Last year, this time, we were ready to go. The mayor was very much for a new location and petitioned Schweitzer's to get the property. So we did an analysis, because I really
I
wanted
remember,
to
and you told me,
rebuild where we were.
and it made more sense to do that.
To do that. Now, we spent maybe $11,000 for the environmental testing, I think, for
Less than that. Yeah.
$3,500.
It was under $5,000.
We spent $3,500 for the environmental testing so that we could be sure we're not getting property that we have to remediate, and that's protecting the public. And we did the same thing for the park across the street. Now, we've still not gotten the parkland, and we didn't get the EMS land, but it's still possible that we will get it. And the only thing is, we can't wait to get the land that they're looking at. But they're not making any more property in Spotswood, and for $3,500, if we can eventually get that, I say, I don't care if it takes 2-3 years, as long as we don't need it immediately for the building, we might get it in the future, and then who knows, at some point, we may need that land for something.
My last thing on the building, if you are, rumor has it, shopping the first aid building or first aid business, does it make sense to make this a first aid building, put the money in, repair it as best you can? It would then suffice, you don't have to build a
Well, we were going to...
state-of-the-art first aid building.
Right. When we did the
That's a decision you
analysis...
should make prior to your caucus. What do we really need?
When we did the analysis, we were building it for future. Wider doors, higher doors. At this point, I believe we're going to build it with the money that we have to put it back together the way it was, except for things will be higher, so that if ever flooded again, we won't have to replace the electrical systems and the air conditioners and heaters.
We're not buying the big rigs like East Brunswick for
Right.
first aid.
So we're going to put it back together.
But my only thing is, last thing, and I'm walking away because I'd like to talk, if you have something in, and I don't want you to get out of the first aid business, but if that's going to happen, that building can get built cheaply and get it done, whether you could sell it or use it for public works or whatever you want to use it for.
Senior center.
That would, do I think that's a great idea? But take the Legion.
You know, I would, Jim, one of the interesting things when I spoke to Dawn this week, you know, we had Obamacare start. And I thought that might be a good thing. Now people will have to have insurance so that when we do transports, we'll have a greater chance of getting paid by the insurance company. Turns out the insurance they're going to get from Obamacare doesn't include those payments. And on top of that, Obamacare is going to force us, if the employees work more than 35 hours a week, that they have- 30. They have to have health insurance. So that would virtually make it affordable.
I'm just asking you, I really don't want you to make that decision, and I'm looking at Spotswood people that have been there a lot of years, Eddie and some of you guys. I have to be honest with you, it's maybe because my heart and I grew up in that first aid squad, and it could be, but I have to tell you, I know all the good that comes out of having that own service. Have a nice day, and have a good night, and stay warm.
And I'd just like to correct Kurt, it's not Obamacare, it's the Affordable Care Act.
And we know it all is Obamacare.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
Yes, she does.
Donna Falkenberry.
I'm lightening the mood, Jim.
You got to promise me you're not going.
I like that.
You got to promise me you're not going to run in a state like Carl Martin did.
No, not yet.
When he got honored at the thing, I'm saying.
I'm cordially inviting all members of the council and audience members, actually. The high school is having their yearly drama musical, and this year it's Shrek the Musical. It's the next Thursday, the 12th, Friday, the 13th, Saturday, the 14th at 7. Sunday, it's the 2 o'clock matinee. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to the high school musicals. They are not typical. They are
Amazing.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And this year is going to be no exception. I'm going to give you an email address. Please write it down, because if you want to get tickets, you can either email me directly, or you can just email shsdramatics@yahoo.com.
How do you spell Tix?
TIX. And tickets are $10, $6 for seniors and students. I think it would be very nice if our representatives of the local government were there to support our kids.
I'll be there.
And more importantly, I really know you will enjoy it. It's a great show. I don't know, if you love Shrek the movie, you're going to love Shrek the musical. It's a lot of fun, and it's got great heart. One other thing, if it's possible, may I have permission to put a sign for the musical out in the front here, just so we can advertise it and get people to...
We have one upstairs, too.
Yeah, that's a poster. This is actual lawn sign. We had lawn signs made up. So if I could do that, that would be great. Thank you. And I hope to see you there. I really think you'll enjoy it.
Thanks for reminding us, Donna.
If you're a member of the senior center, you can actually go to the dress rehearsal or the matinee?
It's a dress rehearsal, Wednesday evening. Unfortunately, there's no transportation there, but if you can get there yourself Wednesday evening, that's free. That's free for seniors to come, and it's a great opportunity for the kids to get a final run-through before the...
Some of us can go to that one.
You're welcome to that one, but come to another one as well.
55 and above, you can belong to the senior center.
Right, so again, if you need tickets, I'd be happy to get them for you. I can deliver them to you, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for the service.
I thought you were going to lighten the load.
I did.
Oh, that was light?
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none?
I make a motion, we close the meeting.
Motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's the meeting. Thank you very much.